Hi, everybody. It's Anura, host of Freedom to Fight. Guess what? I have a new episode for you. Episode 8 is with my great friend, Boris. He's a Jiu Jitsu practitioner, a brown belt, over in Melbourne, Australia. He is my first international guest, and I'm absolutely thrilled to present this episode to you. I'm really fortunate to have such great guests on my show, but also to have become friends with my guests and, be connected with them beyond, just the interview, and them all kind of knowing each other and being connected to each other. It's been really quite a dream. So without further ado, I'd like to present my next episode, episode 8, season 2, Boris K of BorisKBJJ. Thanks for listening.
How bloody if you go down, broke that run that is away from.
I'll start by introducing myself, and then I'll just directly hand it over to you to introduce yourself, and then I'll just jump into questions.
Yeah, sure. Sounds good.
You don't have to have them in front of you. I have them in front of me, and we don't have to go in order. I'll just kind of let it happen.
Yeah, do what you need to. I don't have anything in front of me. I did read the questions, and thought them over, but I'm very unscripted and hopefully not unprepared, but
Yeah.
we're just here for a chat, so
I think it's good to do that. There's one guest that's coming on the show that's don't send me questions. I don't want to know anything ahead of time. And I think that's probably how conversations happen. The best conversations happen that way. So,
yeah, but it does help the nerves sometimes to be like,
right?
Let's get an idea.
What? Yeah. Some people are like, what the heck are we going to talk about? What is even this? So,
well,
anyway.
This is my first podcast interview. All of that. Normally my videos, I don't even talk in them. So this might be the first time people hear my voice.
Well, I'm really excited about it because definitely it'll attract more people to your channel, and that's what I'm looking for.
I hope so. Thank you. Yeah. That's what it's all about.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna gracefully introduce myself, kind of. And then I'll let you introduce yourself.
Sounds
okay.
Good.
Hi, everybody. It's Anura Mathis, the host of Freedom to Fight. I'm super duper excited about this interview. Boris is all the way on the other side of, I guess it's the other side of the world. I guess if I go through California, it's pretty close to me, but Australia's far. You're almost a full day ahead of me. So I'll go ahead and let you introduce yourself.
Yes, hi. Thank you for having me. I'm Boris from BorisKBJJ. I guess, there's not too much more of an intro about me, but hopefully you'll learn a bit about me as we go through this. Excited to be here, and all the way from the future in Australia, down under, other side of the world, because it's a very long couple of flights.
Can I ask you what city you're in?
I'm in Melbourne.
Melbourne, yeah. That's the one I'm familiar with. The only one I'm familiar with. In Sydney, but I don't know anybody in Sydney.
Well, we've only got 7 or so states, and each one has one, maybe 2 big towns or cities that the people know, but mainly it's just the capital in each state. So, if you've heard of Melbourne and Sydney, you've heard of most of it.
And you're pretty close to New Zealand, and Chris is over there. Chris, is it Fairtex, I think?
I think he's in... he's in Sydney.
He's in Sydney.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's in Sydney, yeah.
Hey, interesting. I thought he was
Yeah.
in New Zealand.
No,
Somebody
you have a
else is.
slightly different accent that you might not pick up on. But yeah, we know the
I think
difference.
I'd pick up on it.
Yeah. Well, yeah, he's from Australia.
All right, time for some Muay Thai. Why the fuck is this guy staring at me?
Look at this Muay Thai guy. I'd make him tap in 5 seconds.
Does this guy want to fucking throw down? One head kick when he's there on the floor will teach him a lesson.
Come clinch, or flying arm bar you to the hospital.
He probably thinks he's just gonna...
Well, I can't edit it out. Sorry, Chris. But at least I know he prefers Muay Thai over Taekwondo.
He definitely does. That
so
he
do I.
does. Yeah, I think everyone should know that. And
So-
everyone should probably feel similar as well. Muay Thai's definitely
Yeah.
than Taekwondo.
I saw a Taekwondo place, I want to say yesterday, and I'm interested just because I've never seen it before. I don't know what it looks like, but I love Muay Thai. It's brutal.
Yeah, I don't want to get cancelled and by maybe saying too much of what I really think, but yeah, Muay Thai's better.
Yeah.
Stick to Muay Thai.
Respect for all the arts. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
So Boris, let me ask, so you train in Brazilian Jiu Jitsu?
Yeah.
And so tell me about that. Tell me about your journey, and tell me about what your belt color and all of that.
Yeah. I got my brown belt in Brazilian Jiu Jitsu not too long ago. This year, sometime, a few months ago, I'd say. I've been doing it for, I think, 7 or so years, pretty consistently. Since I started Jiu Jitsu, I kind of haven't had any interest in other martial arts or other sports or pastimes. Before I discovered Jiu Jitsu, I did kickboxing for sort of in my 20s and my teens. And when I was a not young child, from age probably 6 or 8 to 12 or so, I did karate, as most young boys do.
Yeah.
And I got introduced into that probably from Bruce Lee movies. And again, it's that same journey that I think most of us would take. But yeah, Jiu-Jitsu, ever since I've discovered it, loved it. Wish I started it when I was much younger, but at the same time, everything else that I've been to helps and contributes, and it's all part of the journey. So yeah, that's me.
I think that I want to say I really love your channel because I didn't consider this before, getting a practice dummy, because it's not always you can't always go to a gym. Sometimes just things happen in life, and
Right.
I'm wanting to join a gym now, but you got to be able to pay for it, and not just pay for it initially, but consistently.
Well, look, a dummy won't replace, I don't think, going to training and having classes. And even, if you watch my channel and kind of try to copy, you do need to really train with people and be given instruction and really live drill, live spar. But if you do train, then, on the days that you can't train, or on the days that somebody doesn't want to let you practice knee on belly and some of the stuff that's only fun for one person, you've got the dummy, you can do it. For me in particular, I'll watch a cool video or a technique that I want to try, and rather than waiting till training, by which time I'll probably forget it, I'll pop into my garage, play with the dummy, maybe even record it, post the clip. So it can definitely be a benefit if you use it right, just like anything.
Yeah. I've said this on other episodes. People probably are like, "Are you going to stop talking about this?" But it was a life-changing experience. I got a concussion and I was hospitalized a few times, actually. And so having a dummy, that would allow me to keep training while I'm healing from the trauma, like the actual head trauma.
Yeah.
And TBI, traumatic brain injury, and then also from the emotional trauma. So it's a great idea, and I'm glad that I connected with you.
Thank you. Yeah, it's yeah, appreciate that.
Yeah, no problem. Okay, so karate when you were young, kickboxing when you were a bit older, and then Brazilian Jiu Jitsu. I guess let me ask you, like, why? How did you find it? How did you get interested in it?
Brazilian Jiu Jitsu specifically.
Yes. Yes.
So when I was doing kickboxing in my teens and 20s, I every year or so I'd go to Thailand and I'd stay at a training camp and train there. That was kind of my holiday that I really enjoyed. And one of the later times on those trips, I stayed at a camp that had grappling as well. There were MMA classes. So I tried MMA, and the first sort of introductory session that I did was focused on grappling. I can't even remember what we did, but I fell in love with it. From there, I realized I don't really want to learn or continue practicing punching, kicking, being punched and kicked. This grappling and submission stuff sounds pretty cool. And then came back from the holiday, tried a couple of jiu-jitsu clubs, kind of local to my area, and I think I had an injury at the time or something was kind of stopping me, so I did a bit of a trial and then I didn't train again. I probably did it for a week or so, didn't train again because of the injury, then end up going to Thailand again the next year, did more grappling there, and then I think from there I came back, found a gym, and that was kind of it. No more striking, just jiu-jitsu.
See, I'd really like to go to Thailand. I think I've got a friend there or that's gonna move back there, but I was on a podcast, a different podcast. I was the guest earlier this week, and my friends are traveling all over the world with their young children and trying to find a new home for them. But they went to Thailand and they got to see Muay Thai, and it's funny because I didn't grow up practicing martial arts. It was something that was like frowned upon because of its violence. But I'm really glad that I got connected with it because it's really has changed my life for the better.
For most people, it does. Yeah, it's a valuable skill, but it goes well beyond just the skill side of it.
Yeah, yeah. It's important for me being a woman and a woman of color that I know how to defend myself because I'm really not safe anywhere. And I said this on an episode I did just yesterday that even just like going to the park, like I'm trying to find places where I can actually work and have good reception and things like that. But just going to a park to have that podcast interview, I was followed. So like I can't even go to a local park without it being a problem. So I have to make sure I can defend myself and really well because there are some people that actually want to hurt me, like they actually want to pursue that. So it can't be something I just take lightly. I have to take it seriously.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, for me, I do it because it's fun. It's a hobby. I'm not really too worried about having to use it. Hopefully, I never do. Um, but yeah, some people absolutely. It's especially. I'm I'm shocked by how many people actually need it in their jobs and they don't. You know, law enforcement, uh, crowd control, security, what have you. Any of those jobs that don't train it boggles my mind. You see a lot of videos on the internet where it's obvious that they benefit from that sort of training, uh, but it's becoming more mainstream now. Hopefully, people start training. Lots of channels on Instagram that will, yeah, hopefully get people interested.
So, the buggy choker, Austin Hart, was on my show. I don't know. Yeah. So he was on, I think he was episode 8 of my first season, but he's a psychiatric nurse, and he told a story of being able to use BJJ to help him like de-escalate a situation without harming a patient.
Yeah.
And I'm a mental health professional as well, so I've been in a lot of dangerous situations, like a lot. I've worked in men's facilities like overnight. Like I've been in pretty vulnerable situations. So having jujitsu like would save my life and help me to not harm someone, because I really don't want to, you know.
Absolutely.
I really don't want to harm a patient, but just a person in general, if I could just subdue them instead of actually having to strike them.
Yeah, that's a
be
good
great.
I only learned that when I discovered jiu-jitsu when I was younger. I thought, learn to fight, you could defend yourself, but defending yourself and hurting someone else isn't really the best outcome. Being able to just control is what you really want. So yeah, everyone should learn it. Everyone should at least try it.
Or like slowly choke someone out. Just
That's very satisfying.
It is. Okay, I'm gonna kind of move on, because
Sure,
I,
yeah,
I not move on, but like transition into mental health, because we've already talked about it a little bit, and that's my expertise. And I want to make sure to ask everybody questions about mental health, because I think in previous episodes I didn't do the greatest job, but I want to talk about therapy. I want to talk about if you've ever gone to therapy, what you think about it, and just that realm.
I can't say that I have gone to therapy, but I would think for people that need it, it's absolutely crucial that they have access to it and that they get help. Maybe therapy is not for everyone, but I'd say it's much better than any sort of medication that you might be given to deal with it, rather than trying to get to the bottom of it. I know that I couldn't, that, how do I put this, people that, therapists that listen to people's problems and talk them through it, that's not something I could do. I like to listen, but it'd be very tough hearing sort of what people go through and what they need to deal with and guiding them through it. It takes a special sort of person to have that. I don't even know if it's empathy, but the ability to take that on, I guess, because it'd be quite confronting. Thankfully, I don't have too much trauma that I need to work through. We all do, I guess. We all have not hugged enough as a child or what have you, but I haven't had much experience with it myself.
Well, I want to say that I guess thank you for the compliment, for saying that it takes a special person to do it. But I hope that it changes, where it's a bit more, it's easier for people to be in that role. Because I really imagine therapy developing as just something we do as a community, like listening to each other's problems and offering advice. And that's not always necessarily what therapy is, but being able to have more empathy and just not needing to go to a professional, to resolve problems. I'm very grateful that this is my position in life. I want to, use this platform to help use my voice for that. But I hope that it's not just, a specialized field, and, people have to go to school for, like a decade at a time just
Well,
to be able to be in that position.
Unfortunately, and I mean, I could be way off, but it looks like we're kind of going the other way. It's people are much less connected and having those conversations and being able to show empathy. Everyone's very rushed, and what I need to do. And then it is more through technology that we communicate these days. So if anything, I think we're losing that skill, but we've got people like you.
Well, I think you're right. I think we are. I think the pandemic has just been like a really unique situation where it did very much so separate us. But this field of mental health, having teletherapy, being able to do it like through Zoom and things like that, like really opened the door and made it accessible to really anybody in the world. So most people, I don't want to say everybody has an internet connection and has a computer where they can do that and where they're safe to do that. It's not always safe to do it at home. So it's it sucks that it caused us to be more disconnected, but in a lot of ways I've seen that there's a lot more connection because of that worldwide crisis. So I'm really, really grateful for the evolution of the field, because I can now sit outside in front of a tree and help people and not feel like, I have to be stuck in an office for 9 hours a day. And it's really easy to get burnout. It's like, I think seeing 8 clients in a day for 5 days a week is absolutely nuts. I think that will drive you nuts. It's unreasonable. It's too much work on your mind and body, and there's vicarious trauma. Like, hearing traumas will traumatize you. So if you're not taking care of yourself, if you don't have your own professional or however you heal, it's you're gonna get burned out pretty quick. But also just like seeing so many, like, it just paints the picture that the world is like just completely broken. Even if you're doing good things, it's like I hear it all the time, like all throughout my day. It's too much. So I'm grateful for the evolution of things, and I hope podcasts really, about mental health are really gonna be another source of healing.
In terms of the pandemic and mental health, for some people it was really tough. People living alone, isolated, what have you. For me, though, before the pandemic, I work in the city, catch the train to and from every day. Since it's been like 3 years now, been working from home, and for me, that's been life-changing. That's been the best thing to happen to my working life and mental health as a result of it. We'll have to work and make money, and being able to do it from home and taking away the travel, all of the kind of wasted time that goes into office life. Just been life-changing. So pandemic has definitely had some positives for me, but negatives for me, and plenty of negatives for others. Eye-opening experience for sure, though. That's
I mean, it's not over. I know that restrictions have like been reduced, and it's maybe been reduced from a pandemic to like an epidemic, but they're still present. People are still catching the virus, and
the world will never be the same, and I hope that society has kind of learned from some of the poor decisions made during COVID and lockdowns and what have you. I think there's a lot to learn and improve upon.
yeah. I there's no going back. That's for sure. Like you
That's
said.
right. That's right. Yeah. As much as some people want to go back, it's a different world now.
I'm okay with that. I'm okay with most of the changes. Definitely traumatizing, but for someone like me, I'm like super introverted. I'm like the most on the spectrum. Like I'm on the opposite end of the spectrum.
I think I'd be pretty close to that end as well.
I think that people that are like interested in jiu-jitsu, Brazilian jiu-jitsu, I think that we're pretty introverted. Like, not everybody, but I do think it's like there's some fraction to it. Like introverts are like attracted to this unique, like kind of mysterious art.
I think, yeah, would be more inclined to be drawn towards jiu-jitsu than Muay Thai if you're introvert. But I mean, I think it's more. I think there's other characteristics or traits that kind of push you one way or another. I think that the introverted is just one of the byproducts or side factors.
Yeah. I'm sorry for needing that break. I could end.
All good, all good. I got two dogs in there. They're pretty quiet, thankfully, at the moment.
Good.
But I know what it's like to be distracted or interrupted by their needs.
On my earlier episode, she was like making all kinds of noise. I had wood floors and she's like chewing on her toy and you can just hear all of it. So I think this app will help me kind of like silence the noise, especially with cars and stuff going by. So
Well, I've got a helicopter or something flying over it, so I'm sure you can hear it. Hopefully, this is helping.
they know
This
we're
part of
talking.
life. They must, yeah.
Well, I want to, sorry, shift back.
Sure,
It's
sure.
fine for us to like be casual. I just, I don't want to lose where we were. So I'm super introverted. And so I just want to say that means it's really hard for me to be around people all the time. Like it's not that I don't like I love people. My life is going to be spent on helping people. So it's not that, it's just that it drains me. And people like to talk to me, which is great. But like I've done Lyft before, like Lyft and Uber, and I'll have people that will talk to me for like 30 minutes and like we'll get at their destination and they don't want to get out of the car because like they're talking and I'm like, it's nice, but also like I can't, I just can't handle having to talk all the time. I have to recharge.
I'm yeah, very much the same. Need long recharge after. I'm good if it's just one person that I'm either talking to or spending time with. It's groups and crowds that I just don't like for. That's why, yeah, catching the train to work and the hustle bustle of the city is just like
Right.
you're draining. Yeah.
I don't think that'll ever change. I mean, it's definitely my personality type, but I think that it's because I like to spend so much time thinking. I spend a lot of time in my imagination. And so it's like I've used a lot of my mental energy. By the time I like talk to someone, it's like I can't. It's just I can't talk to people first thing in the morning. Like I can't. I'm like still thinking, and I just maybe meditated or whatever it is. Just people have to have a space in my life. It can't be all the time.
I know exactly where you're from when I think that there's a lot of us out there just like that.
Yeah, for sure. Um, I want to go back to talking about therapy because you mentioned that you'd never been before and that you didn't think that, that's something that you needed to pursue, which is totally fine. But I'm appealing to a male dominated, I guess, art and sport and um I don't know if I have a question. I think I just want to talk more about it because I don't want there to be such a stigma around therapy. Like I want, I mean, not just men, but everybody to feel like that's something they can lean into. And so I guess I can ask, is there any um negative thoughts or any stigmas that you have about therapy that it would be preventing you if you ever needed to go?
I wouldn't say there's any stigma that I have associated with. I think the trouble for me and other men, women, anyone, it is just the fact that it's difficult to reach out for help when you need it. To people you're close with. So many people keep things bottled up and hidden and not reach out for help. So just the nature of it, I think, is what maybe stops people from there. Depending, and in Australia, we've got a pretty good healthcare system, so I'd say it will be accessible to those that need it. But other countries, other parts of the world, maybe not so much. There definitely, at least there's a perception that I think there's a perception that men don't necessarily want to ask for help, and that's probably true. But I don't think it's so much that therapy has therapy is for insert whatever negative term you want. I think it's just asking for help. And in Australia specifically, we've got a very much like she'll be right nature. I don't know if that even makes sense. No, you probably like, what did he say? She'll be right is like she'll be all right, to break it up into words. But it's like, whatever, everything will be fine. That's kind of the attitude in Australia. And couple that with, again, men being a bit less open to talking about their problems. I think that's just what kind of stops people.
Australia sounds like the US. That's how it is here.
Yeah, we've got a lot of similarities, but probably a lot of differences as well.
For sure, yeah.
We're probably very culturally influenced by America, like most of our TV, fashion, whatever. Like America's what most people see. But yeah, we should be more laid back, I think. I hope so.
I think everybody's gonna be forced to. We can't just keep that mentality. It's I mean, honestly, it's what produces a lot of mental illness. So we won't have a choice.
Yeah, if you need help, you should be getting it, and talking about it's usually the first step. If you've got people you trust, people close to, talk to them. But if not, then therapist. It's probably a better first option than, again, drugs or alcohol, whatever people turn to otherwise.
Yeah. You mentioned prescription drugs earlier, and I forgot to talk about it. But you mentioned that therapy would be a better resource than prescription medication. So I want to talk about that, and then I want to talk about recreational drugs.
Yeah, sure. Well, I understand in America in particular there is a big prescription drug problem, people dying of, and again, I only know what I see on TV. In Australia, we probably don't have as much of an issue, but my personal opinion is prescription medication, for some people, absolutely that's what you need and that's what's going to help you, and that's, there's no that's just what you got to do to be better. But it's probably over relied upon, and people who could be helped with other means that don't have the side effects, the costs, the what have you, aren't exploring those better options first. I don't know if, again, it's a cultural or political or science-backed reason why we've gone down that path. It could be pharmaceutical companies and their greed. It could be that's, I know I'm not a doctor of science. Maybe actually that is the best course for all these people, but I just think we kind of often take the easiest path, which isn't always the best.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I feel like the people that need the help are the most vulnerable because they're kind of at in the hands of the professionals. And I was very fortunate in my master's program to work. One of my internships was in a hospital. So I got to train alongside doctors and residents. And um, it was it was an excellent experience, but it helped me to see that there's so much that those professionals didn't know. I mean, they were learning from me as I was learning from them, but that's like setting them up for failure. It's like, why wouldn't they know what I know, and why wouldn't I know what they know? We're both in healing professions, and I've had my own experience going to like a physician that recommended antidepressants, but because I know so much about what I know, like I knew that wasn't a solution for me. But if I hadn't, that can be a really long road. I mean, people are on those medications for years and decades of their lives, like with the false idea that that's going to somehow cure them. And it's just, there's a place for prescription medication for sure, but there's so much corruption around that. There's people have to, like you're saying, have to go and get help. So they're in such a vulnerable state. Like, please help me. And then they're given this drug that's not a miracle. And oftentimes prescription medication will cause other issues. Like I learned in my master's program that it's so heartbreaking to even say it out loud, but that medication given to patients that have schizophrenia, and it's not all of the medication, but one specific one causes the onset of Parkinson's. So it's like you're trying to treat one thing and then you're producing with the prescription medication. Like, what the heck are we even doing? Oh, wow. This is such a bright light. I feel like I'm definitely on camera. I just don't want it to be too dark. So now you can really see my face.
Looks great.
Thank you. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, no, absolutely. You're I completely agree. And yeah, it's a shame that that's where we're at. I without sounding too negative or cynical, especially over the COVID years, it's opened my eyes to how broken so many of our systems are, whether it be political, medical, legal, you name it. They're they're all driven by the wrong things and the wrong people in the wrong direction. So yeah, it's hard to get the right help, whatever you need, whether it's mental or other health, or just help in your everyday life with whatever trouble you're having. Yeah, our systems are kind of letting us down.
But I hope if we recognize that, then we can, I mean, if there's awareness, then we can bring some change, because it's really something we all need.
Yes, you're right. And there's always people fighting for the right thing. But, I think it's the same struggle that humanity's had for centuries. There's people in power that don't always want the best thing for everyone. And that, just kind of drives society. You kind of look back at history. It's things change, but they don't really change. And things get better, but they don't really get better. They just...
Well, hopefully I will be part of that good change. I mean, hopefully I'm trying to do it now. But I just I hear everything you're saying, and absolutely in the United States there's an epidemic of prescription medication causing so many deaths. And I mean, that was shocking to learn in my master's program, like the numbers around that. And now there's these massive lawsuits that have been brought against these pharmaceutical companies. But I hope that crisis helps people to turn their attention to therapy and other ways of healing. And I think it is doing that. Kind of slowly. I mean, there's still stigma around other forms of healing outside of therapy. So, but I do think that I do think it's changing in the right direction.
I hope so. I hope so.
Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, we all need help one way or another. So, yeah, need the support somewhere.
I think I want to talk about recreational drugs now, because we brought that got brought up in the conversation, and I think that that's really what people are leaning on. So like plant medicine, but maybe we could talk about both categories, because I don't want there to be stigma around that. I'm in full support of any way that people are healing, in hopes that they're not doing that to harm anybody else. But I'm not the type of professional that's going to condemn that in any way. So,
well, in Australia, there still is a stigma. There's still, recreational, and maybe there's parts. There's like one state, actually, where Parliament House is. I think they're recreational, where the politicians live and do their business. Recreational marijuana is legal. Everywhere else, it's still legal. I think over the past few years, medical marijuana has become a thing. There are sort of clinics that pop up. It's probably, I mean, yeah, definitely much harder to access than I imagine what it is in America. And I only go off again what I see on TV. And but there's still a stigma. There's still a lot of people get in trouble for it in Australia. I mean, I can't think of anyone that's never tried marijuana, weed. But I also know that, yeah, some people, once they've tried it once, they should probably never try it again. You know, it's not fair. Some people do have a bad reaction, and it just doesn't compute with them. But for the most part, I mean, yeah, you got to enjoy life, and if you're not hurting anyone else, if you smoke weed, you're less likely to hurt someone else than
right.
if you drink, or if you probably don't do anything. I think the reason that it is illegal and stigmatized all over the world, and only now we're coming out of that, is all the political and financial reasons that drives the rest of society. I don't think it's as dangerous as a couple of generations ago made it out to be.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's not to say, again, there's some people, they'll try it, they'll have a horrible reaction, but that's like anything. People have peanut allergies, can't bear peanuts.
Yeah.
Not that it's the same thing, but
no, it's similar. I mean, honestly, I don't drink anymore. I did when I was in my early 20s, but this is not something that agrees with me at all. And I didn't like really the way it made me feel, but it physically made me sick. I could drink maybe 2 drinks, and then I'm sick and I'm exhausted, and it just like, it doesn't agree with my body. So I mean, that's not my drug of choice. I've leaned into cannabis, and I don't even use the term marijuana because of the stigma behind that, the history of that. I'm from Texas, and so Texas used to be Mexico.
Right.
So I'm really cautious around the terminology I use, because I don't want to add to the disinformation or misinformation about recreational drugs. And I'm in the state of Colorado now, or Colorado, I think that's how you're supposed to say it.
It's all,
but
I would know. Colorado, if you want to say it in a Aussie accent.
Natives are like, it's not Colorado, because it's there's not an O at the very, anyway, I say Colorado, I hear it's Colorado, whatever.
Sounds the same to me.
Right. But it was legalized here first, and I'll be the first one to say that there are still so many issues. Like, it's a rising industry, and it benefits the community in so many ways, but there are lots of people here that don't agree with that and choose to live here and choose to like cause problems around it. I've been followed because of that. I've been discriminated against because of that, and it's still a constant problem. And I had to come to terms with that and just say that that's their problem. It's if you don't want something in your state, like if you don't agree with that, there's ways you could try to vote it out. But if the majority of the people support it and are benefiting from it, then you are really the problem. Like, the problem isn't what you're saying it is. You're creating a problem because you don't want to accept what already is. You don't want to accept reality. So I just had to come to terms with that and realize I could take my career in a different direction. I could help people heal through plant medicine. Psilocybin just became legal, or decriminalized, one of the two, but practitioners are leaning into that because it's helping people heal through trauma. And so I really don't care what anybody has to say if it is obstructing people from healing. Like, I don't like rehabs, and I mean that's a rising industry as well, and they make so much money, but they hardly help anybody. Like, I just don't care, and I want to make sure to make that clear to my audience. I'm not on that boat.
Well, I think you're on the right path then, because if it's driven by love and care, then it will help. When it's driven by what drives most things, then we stay in that cycle.
I hope you can still see me well. It's getting pretty dark here.
Yeah, no, it hasn't changed on my end.
Oh, awesome. Good.
You're like doing a good job, camera, all working in unison.
Good. I'm wondering how this video is going to turn out, but I just wanted to talk about that for a little bit, and I've got a final question for you, and then I'll just leave it open. You want to ask me anything?
Sure.
So my final question is related to the name of my show, Freedom to Fight. My final question is, what does freedom look like to you?
Freedom to me. I guess I mean, I have quite a lot of freedom as it is. Freedom is, I mean, being able to think whatever you want to think, say whatever you want to say, do whatever you want to do, within reason. You shouldn't be able to do the wrong thing, say the wrong thing. But freedom is, just doing what you want to do, pursuing whatever you want to pursue. I can't say I have full freedom at the moment. I work a job, 9 to 5, whatever it is. So that helps me have freedom outside of those hours. You need money to support you to do whatever. If there's a point where I don't have to work and I can solely do whatever I want to do, whether that be stay in bed all day long, or do jiu-jitsu all day long, or, travel. If I've got the resources and freedom to do whatever I want to do, that's freedom. But you've got to earn it. And firstly, some countries and some places in the world, you don't even come close to that. And for people like that's those fundamental rights is probably what freedom means to them. I've got a pretty good, some would maybe say we've got less freedom in Australia than America. We can't own guns, for example, but that's not a freedom that's important to me. So the things that are important to me, I'm safe, I'm healthy, I'm happy, I've got friends and family. The only non-freedom is, I've got to work, but it's a good job. It's not like, and especially working from home, we've all got responsibilities. So if I was given, a couple $1 million, I wouldn't work, and then I would say I'm totally free. I've got freedom. But yeah, again, I'm pretty lucky where I live, and the support that I've had to where I am today, where I am in life. I think, compared to a lot of people in the world, I've got far more freedom. So yeah, consider myself pretty lucky.
I definitely think Australia is a lot more free than the United States. And I'm looking over my shoulder.
Look, I think in a lot of ways we probably are. In many ways we're probably not.
Yeah.
I think, COVID kind of, and the lockdowns probably showed a few freedoms that we do or don't have. In America, it seemed like parts of America were kind of, freer than others. Melbourne, where I live, and the state, we actually had, I think, some of the worst lockdowns over that 2-year period. Out of 2 years, we were like locked down, couldn't leave 5 kilometers, and there was fines and whatnot for like, I don't know, more than a year of it. If try to put that behind you, there's some trauma. But yeah, I mean, some would say that, Melbourne or Victoria isn't that free if you from that perspective. But again, you kind of just weigh it all up, and I'm pretty lucky.
Yeah. I'd like to travel there one day. I don't want it to sound like one day I'll do people get on flights and go to Australia, and I've got people there too. So one thing I want to do is for people that are open to it, guests that have been on my show that train in jiu-jitsu, I'd like to roll with them, I'd like to film it. There's been lots of black belts on my show. There's been people that practice Muay Thai as well. So I'm down with either.
Sure, yeah.
If you're open to that, I would love to come there and roll with you.
Yeah, if you ever come to Melbourne, for sure. It's just, it's a lot of hours on a flight. I've been meaning to go back to America for a holiday at some point. I keep kind of putting it off. I've got my uncle and cousin and sort of dad's side of the family live in New York. So I've been to America twice, but the last time was over the Millennium New Year, so like 23 years ago.
Wow.
So yeah, I've been meaning to, and I keep talking to my cousin, and we're like, oh, come back and visit, and we'll do like a jiu-jitsu holiday and go to, been actually meaning to go to like Austin, and there's all the jiu-jitsu hub there now, so it is part of the plan one day. But yeah, it's just, I hate planes. And
I feel it. This plane passing by, I think this is confirmation that you should take a trip.
I should do it. Yeah, well,
I think so.
One day it'll definitely happen. It's just, sooner or later. Hopefully sooner rather than later.
Well, I'm inviting you, so I can come there and visit you, but I'm also inviting you to come.
All right, I appreciate it. I will probably take you off on this.
Okay. Well, okay, I'm going to give you some time to ask me. You don't have to ask me any questions, but if you have questions for me.
Well, I mean, I don't want to ask you things that you've probably already spoken about on earlier
You can.
episodes. What I'd probably want to ask you is if you could have two questions. So first one is if you could have any one guest on your podcast, who would that be? Like, who's your dream interviewee? And where do you hope that this podcast takes you in 5 years? Like, if you could dream up the next 5 years, and then what would that be?
Okay. The first name that popped in my head is Joe Rogan. So I don't want to like minimize my guests because I really am like I'm living the dream now. Like I get to have people that I look up to and people that I'm influenced by on my show. You could have said no easily. You could have said like, okay, your podcast is small, like, but it's growing, and I'm really grateful for that. But Joe is the biggest one in the game, and I love him, and I'm gonna like try to get him on the show at some point. So maybe that's my 5-year goal.
Yeah, that's perfect summary to both questions, and that's a great trajectory to want your podcast to be on.
But I don't want to leave it there because I'm also a mental health professional. Like I'm part my martial arts side would like Joe Rogan on, but I also want to like collaborate with other trauma therapists and other trauma experts. I want to spread the word about jiu-jitsu and martial arts being like a healing avenue, but I want people to know more about like their mental health and like how to connect with themselves. And maybe I'll start teaching meditation. And eventually I would like to open my own like wellness center or something like that, and like jujitsu and like, like I want the communities to merge, and I just want a place where people feel safe. So that's my intention for 5 years down, but like now, like like whatever it's gonna grow into in 5 years is cool, but that's my intention now.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. That's I hope that you realize all of those goals, and if you do, or when you have Joe Rogan, I'd love to meet him as well. He's my I spent a lot of time listening to his podcast.
Yeah.
If you have him on the show, or when you have him on the show, maybe make room for 2 guests, and you can have me on like just before or after. You can kind of introduce us. Like, hey, Joe.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can do that.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
I felt, and he'll be like, "Hey, what's up?" He might do that anyway. I don't want to minimize that you're 7 years is a long time to train, but anyway, I hear what you're saying, and I am super down with that. And maybe if Joe is on the show, he'll let me roll with him too, and like spar with him, because he's done some Muay Thai. So
yeah. Well, actually, let's do that podcast in person. I'll be there. He'll be there. You'll roll. Yeah.
Maybe
Sounds
you can
good.
film, and like we'll trade.
Yeah, that's right. Because you need someone holding the camera. That's right. You need 3
right.
people.
But then like roll with him, and then like whoever gets submitted, we'll switch spots, and then
I think it's pretty clear who will get submitted and who will never film. Joe Rogan won't be holding the camera.
I'm winning. What if it's me? What if I'm winning on all fronts?
I guess that's a possibility. Yeah.
Who knows?
Who knows? Yeah.
Anyway, okay, Boris, how can people find you? Talk about your channel and your contacts.
Well, it's just at BorisKBJJ on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. I post a video every day. It's usually me and my dummy, and actually, just because I feel like I've been doing this whole podcast, and all of my success, I'm kind of riding on the shoulders of the dummy that I use, and he's really the starter of the show. I'm just lucky that he needs someone to do the moves on him. So I should just for a moment let him pop into frame so that again people it's in context of who I actually am. Like once they see the dumb, like, oh, Boris KBJJ, yeah, you'll probably be like, oh, hang on. Don't now I probably do come across a little bit crazy, but no, yeah, that's the star of the show. Yeah, post a video every day, usually me and the dummy doing a technique or something that will highlight a cool video or cool technique that I come across, and then show that, you know, you can get a dummy, you can drill at home and do those movements and learn jiu-jitsu. Yeah, that's me, that's my channel, that's how to find me.
Awesome. I am like, I'm so happy that you came on the show. So happy I connected with you. And I'm gonna end here, but don't hang up. Like I don't wanna end the conversation just yet.
Sure. Okay, yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say I appreciate you inviting me. This is my first ever podcast, first long form recorded conversation. So yeah, I appreciate you reaching out and having me.
Yeah, I'm glad I did.
I want to thank everyone for listening and supporting my channel, my show, Instagram and TikTok and YouTube channels, and supporting my show, my podcast. This has been something that I wanted to realize over a year ago, and look at where I am. I've done one season. In my second season, I've connected with more people from different avenues, people from different countries, multiple different countries. I've started training again and exploring the world of BJJ and Muay Thai again, and I've got so many more episodes for you before the year is over, and already starting on season 3. So I'm really lucky to have all of your attention and your support. If you'd like to find Boris, he is on Instagram at BorisKBJJ. He's also on YouTube, BorisKBJJ. You can find me on Instagram, which is Freedom to Fight. It's freedom_to_fight. The 2 is the number 2. You can find me on YouTube, Freedom to Fight. Find me on TikTok, Freedom to Fight. Find me on Facebook, Freedom to Fight. And you can also, if you'd like to connect with me, if you'd like to make a donation, you can do so through Spotify. There's a listener support link in the bio. You can also go through PayPal. It's Freedom to Fight, TWO. Venmo is at Anura, ANURA 860. Cash App is the $, Anura Mathis, my name. You can send me an email if you're interested in being on the show. It's freedom2fight, TWO@gmail.com. You can message me on social media too. I've got so many more episodes coming. Thank you so much for listening.